Major developments tonight involving the case against Sean Diddy Combs, what he decided in court today, and what this now means, the move coming just 4 days before his trial is set to begin. Here's Aaron Katursky.
Tonight, Sean Combs makes it official. He's rejecting the government's offer to plead guilty and spare himself the possibility of a prolonged term in prison. When asked if he turned down the offer, Combs answered, "Yes, I do, Your Honor," as he stood in a baggy beige jail uniform. Terms were not disclosed, but prosecutors did say a plea could result in a shorter sentence for Combs than if he's convicted.
Justin Bieber's name has always screamed pop superstar. From a scrappy teen dropping covers on YouTube to selling out arenas and dropping hits, he's been in the game for years, rising through scandals and reinventions like a pro. Whether it's documentaries, award speeches, or emotional confessions online, Bieber's life has been wide open for the world to watch. But now, that spotlight's swinging somewhere way darker and way more unexpected.
What happens is if people go into a trial believing the firepower on the prosecution is so strong, I mean, let's say on a scale of 1 to 100, it's a 95 that it's so strong, but it goes down to an 88. That helps the defense because everybody goes in thinking, wow, they're going to prove this, and they're going to prove this, and they're going to prove this, and all of a sudden, none of it's there. I think that actually helps the defense.
Multiple legal filings in the explosive federal case against Sean Diddy Combs reveal something wild. Bieber has officially agreed to testify as a government witness. This twist could flip the whole story on its head and might seriously shake how the world sees both of these megastars. What makes this even crazier? Most of the witnesses linked to Diddy so far have been people straight out of his own camp. Former artists, bodyguards, or execs from Bad Boys Empire. But Bieber, he's from a whole different world of pop. He never came up under Diddy's wing. That's why his decision to step up and talk is a major move.
Well, Bill and Sade, accepting a plea agreement would mean that Sean Combs would have to admit to trafficking and forced. And today he made it very clear that was not going to happen. Diddy maintained all along these encounters involved consenting adults and plans to take his chances that a jury agreed.
His involvement shows that prosecutors are aiming to prove something bigger, that whatever mess is being alleged around Diddy's entertainment world might have stretched far past just hip-hop. Bieber's name being in this, it changes everything. Bieber's role in this case isn't just about star power, it's about strategy. His name stretches across genres, platforms, and generations, giving jurors a familiar face they can relate to. Behind the scenes, his public image.
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs back behind bars, a magistrate judge denying him bail, saying that there were no conditions that she could conceive of that would make her confident that he would appear again for other court appearances. The judge saying, "My concern is this is a crime that happens behind closed doors."
Built on being honest, faith-driven, and remorseful, makes him a calculated choice for the legal team. Those qualities hit home with everyday folks sitting in a jury box. And this ain't no gossip. Sources close to the situation say Bieber's appearance is based on real behind-closed-doors conversations, not hearsay. In a series of private proffer sessions, he opened up about getting invited to exclusive events.
The last hearing before Sean Combs' trial starts, when he walked into federal court today, he appeared to be looking for his family. They've pretty much been at all of the hearings that I've been to, but there was no presence of his sons or his mother or his sister who had previously been at those hearings.
Presented as chill listening parties or networking mixers. But according to what was shared in those sessions, things might not have been as innocent as they seemed. Bieber reportedly said he went to just a few of these gatherings during his early adult years, some of which were tied to spots associated with Diddy or his affiliates. Now, the real focus? What happened behind those closed doors?
Mr. Combs feels A, he's innocent, which is why he's not going to plead guilty. B, he's going to be truthful about this case because he wants to portray that to the people who have loved him his whole life. And I think he also feels an obligation to people in general. Maybe it's black people, maybe it's white people, maybe it's anybody who's ever felt aggrieved and targeted by the government. He feels an obligation to those people to say, you know what, maybe I can break the model. Maybe I can show the world that a black man can win, in federal court. And I think he probably is the only person I know of who might be able to actually accomplish that.
Who was invited? How did they get in? Were phones taken at the door? Were there rules people had to follow? That's the kind of stuff prosecutors are planning to bring out when they question him.
She did, and when the judge did, Diddy, who was sitting at the defense table with his attorneys, did not show any signs of emotion. He took a sip of water before he was led out of the courtroom by the U.S. Marshals. Now, his lawyers have vowed to fight this. They are going to be back in court on Wednesday before the judge who will oversee this trial and try to get Diddy to be released.
Even though Bieber didn't claim to be harmed himself, what he saw still matters. A lot. Prosecutors say his version of events helps fill in major blanks around how these parties worked, backing up earlier witness claims about strict security, guest control, and NDAs. And since Bieber never had messy business drama with Diddy, his word might hit even harder with the jury. This jury's getting something rare, testimony that comes clean with no messy beef over money, royalties, or behind-the-scenes music deals.
At trial, Combs will ditch the jail garb and wear ordinary clothes, as his lawyers argue the evidence shows consenting adults being intimate in their own way.
From a public angle, Bieber stepping up set off two totally different reactions. Some fans say it lines up with his recent push for honesty and holding the industry accountable. He's even gone on record saying there needs to be more truth and transparency everywhere in entertainment.
He knows the deck is stacked against him. They've got a ton of evidence. Take the plea deal, dude. Just take it.
Well, my guess is that, because we don't know the deal of the plea deal. At least I don't think we do.
True.
Okay.
But not everyone's buying it. Critics are buzzing too, wondering if this is just Bieber playing it smart, trying to clear his name from old connections that might now raise eyebrows. Is it faith or PR?
Now, as far as jury selection goes, I think the biggest takeaway for me is that both sides expect to have all of this done in the matter of 3 days. Now, given just how high profile this trial is, I was kind of stunned that they seem very confident that they will be able to seat a jury in that amount of time.
The decision guarantees Combs will face trial beginning just 4 days from now that will test whether one of music's most prolific figures used his power, wealth, and fame to exploit both women and men for decades.
This is going to be such a massive trial, like maybe the biggest Hollywood trial. God knows which way it's going to go. Is it going to go on for weeks?
Oh, for sure.
Either way, him linking up with the Department of Justice like this is wild. It's a crossover that's got people talking far beyond courtroom walls, and it's not slowing down anytime soon. And behind those courtroom doors, the tension's already heating up. Diddy's legal team has fired off requests demanding to see all the back and forth between prosecutors and Bieber's lawyers. Why?
Do you still think that, because there is this public perception, that there are celebrity tapes involved in this case?
No.
Do you still think that there are minors involved in this case?
I'm certain no.
Okay.
And again, when you say this case, we're talking the criminal case.
The criminal case.
In the
correct.
criminal,
I know that.
In the criminal case, no.
They want to know if Bieber got anything in return, like immunity, a lighter civil load, or a smoother schedule for agreeing to testify. But prosecutors are firing right back. They claim Bieber came forward on his own after realizing his name popped up on early witness lists pulled from seized guest records. According to them, he didn't ask for or get anything special outside of standard planning stuff.
Federal trafficking, racketeering, and charges beginning Monday morning.
Still, the judge isn't taking anyone's word for it just yet. He's called for a private review to make sure everything's clean and above board.
Developments involving the case against Sean Diddy Combs, what he decided in court today, and what this now means, the move coming just 4 days before his trial is set to begin. Here's Aaron Katursky.
Tonight, Sean Combs makes it official. He's rejecting the government's offer to plead guilty and spare himself the possibility of a prolonged term in prison. When asked if he turned down the offer, Combs answered, "Yes, I do, Your Honor," as he stood in a baggy beige jail uniform. Terms were not disclosed, but prosecutors did say a plea could result in a shorter sentence for Combs than if he's convicted.
While the judge moves to protect sensitive info, he's also making sure Diddy's defense still gets full access to what they're legally owed. No shortcuts in this legal battle. But Bieber's entrance into the witness lineup isn't just another name on the list. It flips the emotional tone of the whole upcoming trial.
Isn't that, to my mind, that's one of the bigger hurdles in selecting a jury this coming week, is that there is, at least anecdotally, when I talk to people, they have that opinion, strongly held opinion, that there's celebrity tapes, that they've kind of conflated Epstein, and you mentioned Ghislaine Maxwell and all of these things into Diddy. There's this idea that somehow this is Epstein redux.
Until now, most media coverage has painted this case as a drama full of insiders flipping the script. Ex-label mates, ex-bodyguards, people who once ate off Diddy's plate. Jurors could easily wonder, are these folks telling the truth? Or just...
Would you be open to a plea bargain?
Well, it's not up to me. It's up to Mr. Combs, and I don't see it happening.
Why?
Because he believes he's innocent. He believes he's innocent. And what's more, he believes that he needs to stand up, not just for himself, for his family, and for everybody who's been targeted by the federal government.
What made you come here to support Puff?
I'm supporting Puff because he's innocent, and I'm wholeheartedly believing his innocence, and I know he's innocent. So
you say you know he's innocent?
1,000%.
Salty over old paychecks. But Bieber? He doesn't come with that kind of baggage. He's got his own empire, different labels, different team, and his own powerful brand deals. He never needed Diddy to blow up, and that independence gives his words extra weight. When he steps into that courtroom, the vibe instantly changes.
How can you support your father? How do you support him moving forward?
Diddy's lawyers had argued that he had made good faith efforts by showing up in New York, ready to surrender to face these charges, but prosecutors said that he could not be trusted, that he has a history of trying to intimidate witnesses, including some who are going to be witnesses in this case. They urge the judge to remand.
This stops being an internal hip-hop fallout and turns into something way bigger. Prosecutors are ready to use Bieber's testimony to show that strict guest rules, phone bans, and secretive event setups weren't random. They happened again and again across years and across music scenes. For Bieber, this decision wasn't taken lightly. He's been through messy legal moments of his own in the past, and since then, he's promised to be real and use his fame for good. He's even called himself an honest witness in his documentaries. Insiders say he seriously thought about the heat this might bring, but still chose to speak.
We have the latest from federal court in the Sean Combs criminal case. Status of jury selection, what Diddy's going to be wearing, violation of a gag order, rejecting a plea offer.
Bieber knew straight up, teaming up with the feds against another music giant could shake up his standing in the industry. Some doors might close and some big names might go quiet, but his team also warned him, saying no and getting subpoenaed later, that could make him look shady or like he had something to hide. By choosing to cooperate now, Bieber's keeping his image clean and honest, a move that's helped him bounce back before during past career shakeups. His decision didn't just come out of nowhere. It's tied to multiple overlapping investigations. Investigators pulled early witness lists from seized tech, digital calendars, guest apps, all gathered from raids at Diddy-linked spots. Those lists were packed with celebrity names, though most got blacked out in the court files. Agents focused on folks who could lay out the structure of those private events. No need for dramatic stories, just facts on how things went down. Bieber's name came up more than once, linked to events labeled things like VIP Acoustic Afterglow, or simply Private RSVP. Soon after, his reps got the call, and sit-downs were scheduled within weeks. Insiders say those meetings were calm but super focused. Prosecutors didn't want emotional takes or moral debates. They wanted hard details: who got in, what kind of security was used, and how people were moved in and out. And Bieber, he came prepared. Known for remembering tour details to the letter, he reportedly dropped times, driver setups, even what songs were playing at one of the events in the early hours. That level of detail Bieber gave, prosecutors say it's pure gold. It backs up their case in a way that feels real, not just cold files or dry numbers. His memories line up with email threads and texts pulled from phones used by Diddy's staff, giving the case a tight, believable foundation. Industry insiders predict that prosecutors will drop Bieber's testimony in the middle of their lineup, right after the tech experts, but before the emotional stories from the alleged victims. This setup is no accident. First, jurors will hear about the money flows, intense security, and all that NDA talk. Then comes Bieber, someone they know, putting a human face on all that structure. And once he sets the stage, that's when the real emotional punches come in from the complainants. It's a smart build meant to keep jurors locked in for a long, high-profile trial that could stretch on for weeks. But for Diddy's legal team, cross-examining Bieber is a high-stakes gamble. Going too hard on him might backfire big time, especially if the jury sees him as honest and just trying to help. Come off too aggressive, and it could look like they're bullying a credible witness. Still, they can't just let it slide. So expect them to hit back by pointing out that Bieber barely showed up at these events. They'll push the idea that he hardly knew Diddy directly and that, sure, security was tight, but that's normal for A-list parties. They might even show pictures from other celeb events to prove that phone bans and NDA booths aren't shady. They're just how things roll in that world. Meanwhile, outside the courtroom, the ripple effect is real. Bieber's sponsorship and brand teams are already feeling the heat. Brands tied to Bieber are already in full crisis mode, scrambling to whip up backup PR plans. They know the second he steps into that courtroom, clips of his testimony will be chopped, captioned, and blasted all over social media. Fan bases are already split, some calling him brave for stepping up, others worried he's about to get dragged through the dirt. Meanwhile, streaming platforms are bracing for chaos. Streams of his old songs are expected to spike. Voyons voir. While the comment sections turn into all-out war zones. Over on the Diddy side, his business partners are now double-checking every promo rollout. They know that headline, Bieber testifies, is gonna keep popping back up every time something major drops in court. And through all of this media frenzy, both Bieber and Diddy still have careers to protect. Bieber's juggling new music drops, charity work, and now the pressure of testifying under oath, knowing every word he says could end up frozen in headlines forever. For Diddy, this is more than just courtroom drama. It's a reputation showdown. His team's trying to manage the damage while facing a harsh visual, a fresh-faced pop icon siding with the prosecution, even if he never directly points fingers. Just the image of Justin Bieber, the once young star of a new era, taking the stand in a federal case that shines a harsh light on an older generation's alleged excesses, that alone shakes the narrative to its core. One thing's for sure, the courtroom's about to turn into a circus. Officials are prepping for packed galleries, possibly even a ticket system just to get in. Extra audio feeds are being set up for the press, and legal analysts are already lined up on TV, ready to break down every little detail, from the songs Bieber mentions to the security rules he describes, like it's the Super Bowl halftime show. This trial isn't just about law, it's turning into a full-blown cultural moment. The witness list alone reads like a music chart, turning the courtroom into the hottest stage in town. From a legal strategy angle, Bieber's upcoming testimony is landing at the perfect time. Prosecutors see him as the bridge, the one who can tie together a bunch of scattered witness stories into a clear, solid picture for the jury. He's not just talking about policies on paper, he's lived it. Invite-only lists, super tight entry points, rides arranged through drivers locked in with NDAs, and phone bans so intense no one could snap a pic. Bieber says he experienced it all. His testimony brings those cold, dry documents to life. Instead of boring logistics, jurors get real scenes they can picture. Suddenly, it's not just rules, it's something they can feel. As opening statements get closer, the courtroom's buzzing. Lawyers are locking in their direct examination plans, paralegals are building detailed timelines of every event Bieber attended, and jury consultants are running practice runs to see how regular people react to seeing a world-famous star step up and swear in. This isn't just a trial, it's a clash of two massive narratives. On one side, you've got Bieber trying to show growth and honesty, using truth as part of his brand rebuild. On the other, Diddy's standing firm, leaning on innocence to defend everything he built. And all of it, it's about to collide under those bright courtroom lights, where no fame, no fortune, and no brand deal matters more than that oath to tell the truth. In a wild twist of fate, one pop star's memories might actually tip the balance of a music empire. As word spread that Justin Bieber was set to testify, the entertainment world and legal blogs lit up like wildfire. And the courthouse? It morphed from a quiet building into something that looked more like a music festival command center. U.S. Marshals were out here mapping security zones, prepping for crowds bigger than anything seen in the case so far. Staff rolled out color-coded badges, one color for traditional media, another for the lifestyle outlets, swarming in for that celebrity angle. Court clerks were reshuffling calendars behind the scenes, making sure overflow rooms had clean streams and no tech fails when it all kicks off. Bieber's star power doesn't just shift the narrative, it changes the whole game plan. His streaming stats alone can compete with network primetime, and his walk into court cranked up the logistical pressure to the max. Behind closed doors, both legal teams were scrambling to revise their strategies. Prosecutors worked to lock in a storyline that connects Bieber's first-hand accounts with hard evidence they've already submitted through other witnesses. They lined up spreadsheets tracking who RSVP'd to what and when. There were VIP rideshare vouchers labeled just for him. Internal memos reminded staff to treat guests like Bieber with care. No selfies, no slip-ups. And that wasn't all. They paired every name, ride, and rule with deep dive forensics from servers seized during the raids. Every detail's locked in, every move calculated, because Bieber's about to step into a spotlight way different from a concert stage, and it could rock the courtroom to its core. Prosecutors were building a clean, tight case, triangulating messages between event planners that backed up Bieber's claims about no phone zones and those NDA desks set up right past the valet. Their goal? Lock down a clear chain, written policy, real-life experience, deeper accusation of planned secrecy. They want jurors to see that this wasn't random. It was structured and deliberate. But Diddy's defense team wasn't sitting back. They combed through the same documents, pointing out last-minute guest list swaps, trying to show that if the parties were changing that much on the fly, there couldn't have been some long-running, pre-planned scheme. They put together internal slide decks showing photos of Hollywood charity events and billionaire tech parties that also ban phones and make guests sign NDAs, trying to say, hey, this isn't shady. It's just how VIP life works. Their whole defense move is this: convince the jury that all these so-called secret rules aren't anything special. High-end privacy? That's just part of the scene. So they're planning to hit Bieber with examples from his own life, like fashion parties or private mansion events he went to, where guests were also handed confidentiality envelopes at the door. The goal? Take the surprise factor out of the prosecution's case and make it all sound normal. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, the drama's spreading. Music publishing execs, worried about the value of catalogs tied to this mess, jumped on emergency calls, trying to calm investors before quarterly earnings drop. This trial isn't just courtroom headlines. It's shaking money moves in real time. Just one bad headline out of this trial could throw off the entire rollout of Bieber's next big drop. Insiders were already whispering about backup plans, pushing release dates around, holding off on ad campaigns, even prepping alternate promos in case public opinion started to tilt the wrong way. The trick? Ride the courtroom buzz without making it look like Bieber's cashing in on a federal case. That balance is razor thin. Over on Diddy's side, brands tied to his name hit phase 3 of PR crisis playbooks, what the pros call provisional distancing. They didn't yank his face off everything just yet. Licensing contracts move slow, but the visuals started shifting fast. Ad teams cropped tighter, shrunk font sizes, and ditched party-heavy shots in favor of muted, stripped-down designs. Less flash, more fade out. Meanwhile, the feds were deep in planning mode for Bieber's big courthouse entrance. With a celeb that huge, even a regular arrival can spark fan chaos, thanks to tracking apps, fan forums, and viral alerts. So the plan now includes decoy SUVs, staggered arrival times, and tight scheduling to avoid a scene. Marshals even briefed Bieber's security crew on what's banned: no body cams, no live streaming from the halls, and absolutely no sneaky second phones and jacket linings. And they didn't stop there. Court officials also set up standby mental health support. They've learned from past celebrity trials that when fans get turned away due to packed courtrooms, it can get messy fast. People panic, crowds push, and younger fans especially can spiral into anxiety. This isn't just about keeping the court in order, it's crowd control on a whole different level. As all the security plans and court prep locked into place, the real storyline started to shift. Prosecutors weren't just bringing Bieber in for name recognition, they knew his presence could breathe life into cold facts on a timeline that jurors might otherwise forget. When a platinum-selling artist like Bieber describes a private run-in with Diddy at an after-party, that hits way different than another spreadsheet or faceless statement. And the mock trials proved it. Test jurors locked in hard when Bieber's story was involved. They remembered details, like time of night and strict security steps, long after they forgot earlier testimony filled with dry financial data. So, the prosecution's planning to lean into that. They've crafted a direct exam with a clear buildup, starting with Bieber's first invite from an industry middleman, then breaking down the arrival steps, directions sent by Combs' team, phones being locked up, and his overall vibe after the event. The focus? Stick to the facts. No preaching, no drama. Just a clean walkthrough of what happened, tying into a bigger pattern prosecutors are trying to prove about how these events were set up and controlled. On the flip side, Diddy's defense is ready with a cross-exam plan built like a bullseye. First, they'll stay wide, pointing out that Bieber only went to 2 or 3 of these parties at most. That's a small slice, not a full picture. Then, they'll narrow in, pressing him to admit that tech elites, royals, and even Hollywood hosts also use NDAs, device bans, and VIP rides. Their goal? Show the jury that what Bieber saw wasn't shady, it was just celebrity standard. The defense's tightest play? That inner circle approach, zooming in on Bieber's positive memories. They'll push moments like smooth valet service, elegant catering, and polite staff to make the case that these events weren't shady. They were high-end hospitality done right. If jurors start to believe that private, exclusive parties with secrecy are just part of luxury culture, then the prosecution's claim of deliberate concealment could start to wobble. But while lawyers fine-tuned their strategies, the rest of the industry held its breath. Touring agencies were bracing hard. What if trial delays pushed back jury selection? What if media blow-ups clashed with tour stops? Road crews needed backup plans, and festival promoters started weighing safe bet artists as replacements, just in case either Bieber or Diddy's image took a major dive. Even streaming services were on edge. Editors debated bumping both artists down on featured playlists, worried that any wild court revelations might go too graphic for public comfort. All the behind-the-scenes chatter landed in color-coded dashboards on shared drives with names like winter risk mitigation and roster volatility. Media outlets jumped on the moment, unleashing their best double-barreled coverage. Morning shows hit the legal nitty-gritty for the policy crowd. Then come nightfall, it was all about celebrity panels, roundtables, and pop culture debates on whether stars should be held to higher standards. Major news networks were already rehearsing split-screen montages. Bieber's Purpose Tour packed with screaming fans, set side by side with footage of Diddy at roller skating parties. And once that first sworn word drops in court, SEO teams are locked and loaded, cranking out explainers with headlines designed to go viral before the ink even dries. Why does Justin Bieber's testimony hit so hard? Because every single time he and Diddy ever shared the same space, it now carries legal weight. In a case where public opinion moves as fast as the facts, Bieber stepping in as a star witness becomes a game changer. Fan analysis accounts have already charted the overlap. Bieber's crowd leans heavy on millennials and Gen Z, while Diddy's base is rooted in 90s nostalgia and die-hard hip-hop fans. Data tools started sounding alarms early. Bieber's fans usually ride hard for him, especially when they see him being vulnerable. But that same group can flip fast if they think he's being used or going off-brand. Social strategists flagged a list of trending phrases ahead of time. Number justice for Justin, number bad boy trial, number we believe Bieber. They even prepped content to fight off rumors. Stuff like fake trial dates, bogus entry codes, or fake ticket links for courtroom seating. Behind the scenes, both camps were deep in their own war rooms. Bieber's team ran him through trial behavior basics. No facial reactions, no chatting with familiar faces in the gallery, and don't interrupt. Let the lawyers handle objections. They also booked mental health check-ins, knowing this kind of setting could stir up old stress and anxiety. Meanwhile, Diddy's inner circle combed through jury consultant reports, trying to spot potential weak links. They were looking for jurors who might value hustle culture or be skeptical of teen idols. One analyst even warned that that a single alternate juror could see Bieber as a pampered outsider, softening the impact of everything he says on the stand. Just days before Bieber was set to take the stand, the court held a high-stakes pre-testimony conference to get everything locked in. Prosecutors rolled out new evidence. Venue security footage lined up with exact timestamps from Bieber's phone data. It was a slick move meant to shut down any attacks on his credibility before they could even start. The defense, trying to flip the angle, requested a stipulation, basically admitting that on those specific nights, neither Bieber nor anyone from his team filed complaints. Their message? If anything sketchy went down, it clearly wasn't serious enough to report at the time. The judge agreed in principle, but wanted the language tight to keep things fair and crystal clear for the jury. During the same hearing, prosecutors made a key call. They won't be dragging in other uncharged celebs who were allegedly at those parties. No extra drama, no wild side stories. That move was designed to keep the courtroom from spiraling into a circus of mini celebrity trials. Publicly, Diddy's lawyers praised the decision. Privately, though, they weren't thrilled. It cut off their ability to paint a bigger, more complicated picture of how those guest lists were managed. The tighter the story gets, they argued, the more likely jurors are to view the events as just elite mixers, not pieces of a darker operation. Outside the courtroom, local law enforcement was bracing for the usual Bieber effect. Past events showed that even a rumor of him being nearby could jam the streets, so the city teamed up with rideshare companies to set up drop-off zones 2 blocks away. Meanwhile, nearby cafes stocked up on decaf, expecting fans and reporters to camp out for hours, buzzing with courtroom gossip and caffeine. Trial day was right around the corner, and the courtroom had already turned into a high-stakes stage. Digital news crews camped out, snagging window seats like it was front row at a concert, chasing every moody shot and reaction for their cutaway reels. Legal spectators were bracing for a long haul, powered by caffeine and courtroom drama. Inside, Bieber's team ran final drills. They had him walk through a clean, tight timeline, how he got the invite, when he showed up, what he noticed, and how he left. Simple and focused. His lawyers reminded him, if his memory's foggy, I don't recall, is totally fine. No need to guess. Just stick to what he knows. They also coached him to take a beat before answering each question, making sure the court reporter catches every word. And when he speaks, keep it calm. No theatrics. Just a steady, sincere tone. Meanwhile, Diddy's team was running cross-exam rehearsals with their own twist. They bounced between friendly and tough, preparing for every possible vibe in that courtroom. Their goal? Pull Bieber's testimony into tighter boxes. They had lines ready like, Mr. Bieber, would it surprise you to learn? Or, just to clarify, you're describing a single event, correct? These phrases were designed to gently chip away at any sweeping conclusions, turning big moments into smaller, less threatening details. Behind the scenes, court tech teams were on high alert. Every screen was checked and double-checked to make sure no private medical info or witness addresses popped up by accident. One wrong click? That could spark objections, even a mistrial. Senior clerks weren't playing. Every doc shown in court went through timed drills, because in a viral world, all it takes is one screenshot to blow up everything. The morning lineup was locked. First up, some quick courtroom housekeeping, followed by a brief appearance from a rideshare company rep to confirm those all-important travel logs. But then, all eyes turned to the main event. Justin Bieber stepped forward, right hand raised beneath the official court seal. No music, no flashing lights, just one oath. To tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but. In that instant, the glitz of global stardom collided with the cold weight of the justice system. For prosecutors, it was the payoff. Months of careful prep, turning a superstar's memories into evidence that fits strict federal rules. For the defense, it was their chance to push back, to remind jurors that even megastars don't have the full picture. And for the public, used to flashy edits, red carpets, and live stream filters, this was something raw, real. No stage, no script, just yes or no answers, with stakes reaching far beyond sold-out arenas or streaming charts. This wasn't just another pop culture headline, it was a rare moment of truth, under oath, like what you just saw. Then, subscribe, drop a comment with your thoughts, and share this breakdown with your crew. This story's just getting started. See you in the next one.